as well. I see a lot of growth. I see a lot of people moving and expanding in our business. And yeah, I just want to really recognize the people who are doing something and really expanding their business as well. Okay. So next thing I want to go over is the FHSA. Okay. What is a first home savings account? I want you to write this down. I'm going to share my screen. I want you to write this down. A investment vehicle is not a investment. Okay, an investment vehicle is not a investment. All a investment vehicle is how the government is going to treat that money. Okay, that's something I want you to really understand, because a lot of times you ask people, do you have a TFSA? Do you have a RRSP, or do you have an investment? And they say, hey, yeah, I have a TFSA, but that's not an investment. That's just an account. Okay, so I want you to understand that investment vehicle is how the government is going to treat that money. Okay, so things like a RRSP, things like a TFSA, things like a non-registered or a FHSA, all of these are vehicles, and they're all treated by the government differently for tax purposes. For tax purposes. Okay, the tax advantages of a TFSA are different than a RRSP. They're different than a FHSA. So we're going to understand these differences. But remember, if you open these accounts, that does not mean your money is growing. Okay, what makes the money grow is the actual investment, meaning that this is what gives you the growth. Okay, this is what will give you that 3%, that 8%, that 10%, that 12%. Okay, and you have a choice of many investments in these vehicles. Okay, choice number one is GICs. You will find these at the bank. Even we can do GICs, guaranteed income certificates. The yield is very low on these. Okay, it can be anywhere from 2 to 3%. Okay, next thing people buy are things like bonds. Okay, these are like government guaranteed certificates. And over here, when you're purchasing a bond, you're lending money to a company or a government, and they're going to give you a rate of return. And this might be maybe 4 or 5%. By the way, we can do these as well. And then we look at stocks. Stocks are sometimes a little bit risky. Okay, they can go up, they can go down. And the fourth is mutual funds. We do a lot of mutual funds and segregated funds. That's very important to understand. And these can have a return anywhere from 8 to 12 or even higher % on average. So I want you to understand this. When you ask people, do you have investments? And they say, I have a TFSA or a RRSP, that's not the investment. You have to ask them this follow-up question. What's inside the TFSA? What's inside the RRSP? That's very important to ask. Okay, so that's something I want you to understand, the difference between an investment vehicle and an actual investment. Now, why do people open up different accounts? Why do people open up different accounts? That's very important to understand. Number one account, and I think one of the best accounts, is a TFSA, tax-free savings account. The purpose of this is to save money. Okay, and who can open it? A Canadian resident with a SIN number and age of majority. Okay, next thing is you do not get any tax deductions for the contribution. Okay, meaning when you put money in, you don't get any kind of tax benefit putting money into that. It's all after tax income. But the best thing about this account is it's tax-free withdrawals. So if you saved $100,000 into this account and one day it becomes $300,000 with growth, that whole $300,000 is tax-free. You pay zero tax on that. Okay, and remember, there are limitations. For 2023, the limitation was $6,500. That's a maximum you can contribute. Correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, for this year, it's I believe 7,000. Okay. The next account we're going to talk about is a RRSP, Registered Retirement Savings Plan. Okay. And in here, the purpose of this is retirement savings. And once again, this thing has requirements as well. But remember this, when you put money in, you get a tax benefit. Okay. You get taxed back. So I'll give you an example. If I make, let's say, $100,000, for example, I'm going to pay tax on $100,000. But if I buy $20,000 worth of RRSP, I save the tax on that $20,000. Now, I don't pay tax on $100,000. I'm only paying tax on $80,000 of income. This is why a lot of people buy RRSPs, because they get a tax benefit today. But remember this, when you take this money out, it's 100% taxable. It becomes your income. It's 100% taxable. Okay? And there's limitations here too. 18% of your income up to $30,000 for the year of 2023. Okay? So there are limitations there as well. Now, the newest account has both of these benefits. That's a big, big deal. Okay? The first home savings account, that's what we're talking about today. The first home savings account is for buying your first house in Canada. Okay? And there are some requirements for opening this as well. Okay? But remember this, you get a tax refund. When you put money into this account, just like a RRSP, you get that tax refund. You get that benefit. Okay? But the coolest thing about this account is when you're going to withdraw that money, it's 100% tax-free as well. So you get both the benefit of the TFSA and the benefit of the RRSP in one. But remember this, it's only tax-free if you use that money for a down payment on your first home. If you use it for anything else, you pay tax on it, just like a RRSP. Okay? Now, there's limits here as well. $8,000 per year, up to $40,000 for a lifetime. Now, I want you to write this down. This is very important to understand. A husband and a wife can both open this account, and they can put a down payment together on one home. So a couple can actually use these accounts and put a down payment on a home as well. So I want you guys to write that down. Another thing that I'm going to talk about is right over here. I want you guys to really understand, what does this account mean? What are the benefits? Why are people going to open it? And by the way, you can open this account as well. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what is the benefit of this account. Number one, you get an annual tax deduction of up to $8,000. That's the maximum that you can get. You can save a maximum of $40,000 into this account. Okay, and remember, it doesn't only have to be a FHSA. You can do FHSA and RRSP together, and you could actually save up to $75,000 for your first down payment. If it's a couple, it's over $150,000. Okay, so $150,000 you can save with the benefit of saving tax and not paying tax on pulling that money out as well. Okay, now eligibility, you must be a first-time home buyer. Okay, and what that means is you should not have owned a home in the last 4 years. If you did not own a home in the last 4 years, you reset and you're considered a first-time home buyer again. Okay, legal age of resident in Canada, at least 18 years old. Okay, you must be this must be your primary resident, not an investment property. Okay, and you must have a written agreement to buy your home, or the home is being built for you to qualify to pull that money out and put that down payment as well. And of course, your home must be located in Canada. You can't go buy a house in India with this account. Okay, very important. Now, another thing I want you to consider is you have 15 years until you turn the age of 71. You can have this account open for 15 years. Now, someone might have a question. What happens after 15 years? You're going to have to transfer that over into a RRSP or a RRIS. Okay, so RRSP, it must be transferred into that after that 15 years. Okay, so of course, another thing that I'm going to cover, one second. So I hope this is all clear and you're writing this down. Now, here is a little bit of a summary for everybody. Okay, number one, you can save up to $40,000 in this FHSA. Okay, number two, you can contribute up to $8,000 a year. That's a maximum. Your contribution room carries forward to the next year. So if you don't have $8,000 today, open this account up with $100 and that contribution room will carry forward to the next year. And instead of opening this account next year and only having $8,000 room, you can actually have that $16,000 of room as well. Okay, so once you open the FHSA, you can use it up to 15 years. After that time, it must be closed. I am very sure everyone on this call, whatever happens in the housing market, after within 15 years, you're probably going to purchase a home. Probably. Okay. If you don't buy a home, any unused savings from the FHSA must be transferred to a RRSP. Okay. And it can be withdrawn as taxable income. It can be withdrawn as taxable income. Okay, so this is very, I would say, important to understand. Now, where are you investing? This is a little bit of a rerun of our stock market over the last, from 1900. This is a very, very long run, okay? Look at the bull markets and look at the bear markets. Okay, there's a lot more bull markets than bear markets. And the growth has been insane. I'm going to show you the growth of these accounts as well. Okay, so if you in 1981 you invested $10,000 and just left it there, you would have seen a lot of things happen in history. A lot of things happen in history. Okay, there were the 9/11 attacks, there was a debt crisis, there was COVID-19, there's the China-US trade war, there's the 2008 collapse. After all of that, that $10,000 would have grown to $850,000. $850,000. Okay? And that's an average return of 11.4%. Now, let me ask you this question. If that $10,000 was just sitting in a bank account, in a GIC, how much would it have grown? Not a whole lot. Not a whole lot. So this is very important, why you want to stay invested. Okay? Now, you guys might get a question, and the question might be, why should I open a FHSA with you versus going straight to the bank? Why should I do that? Okay, let me give you an example. The rate of return the bank is going to give you is not going to be very, very high. They'll give you maybe 3 or 4% or so on. Okay, I want to show you what investments we have and what the average rate of return has been over the last 10 years. This investment is managed by Fidelity Investments. Okay, and the average rate of return for the last 10 years has been 10+%. 10+%. This one is with IA Financial Group. The average investment return has been 17.9%. 17.9%. Now, to you, those percentages don't matter. They don't make any sense. Let me show you how they make sense. I'm going to share my screen again, and I'm going to show you guys right over here how the investment returns matter. You can do this yourself as well. Go on compound interest rate calculator, and let's say we are investing $10,000. Okay, and let's say we're putting in maybe every single month, another $250 a month. Okay, so we're investing this monthly. You're investing it in the bank, so you're getting a 3% rate of return. And let's say you have 20 years. 20 years, let's see what happens. You would have $100,000 and you would have earned about $30,000 in interest based on 3%. Now, this is with the bank. You're getting this return with the bank, okay? All we do is we change the rate of return. And let's say instead of 3%, this person is getting now 10%. What do you think the number is going to be? It was 100,000 with 3%. It's $263,000. Instead of earning $30,000 of interest, you earned $193,000 just by changing the investment. That's how powerful this could be, right? So a lot of people, they have a FHSA, they have a TFSA, but the question you want to ask them is what's inside the FHSA? Is your money actually growing or is it just sitting around? Okay, so I want Juliana to share her experience as well, because she was actually showing me some of her client returns. And I want her to share her experience and how powerful this is as well. So Juliana, floor is yours.
Good evening, everyone. I'm really excited because all of us as advisors, we know how the investment were performing from last few years. We know the upside downs, and also we've been facing actually the big growth which has happened last year. So I'm really happy to share my experience that I had with my clients. And I want to tell you something that you should be proud that you're doing this kind of job where you can invest people's money, grow the money, and make the dream come true. I will tell you a reason why. Because I had some clients that came to Canada a few years ago. They didn't have any knowledge, but they trusted me and they went through a few appointments. And after the consultation and knowledge they obtain, they make a right decision and they open up different accounts, investments, so on. And 6 months ago, they were able to buy a house. So not only we educating client on a proper account, how to use those accounts, when to use those accounts, how it works, but also we growing the money. So the client that were actually following my advice, they grow the money a lot. Also, they were able to withdraw those money from TFSA and also another accounts, RSP, for down payment of the home, right? Not only that, do you think clients were happy with the money that they obtained over a few years? And also, also they actually learned that investments really works, even being new in Canada. But after that, they send me a lot of referrals because they understand, okay, we have an expert advisor that can teach us and also can take care of our money. So they trusted me, and also they were able to make the dream come true. How many times you meet people and everyone talking about, I want to buy a house, or I want to do this, but none of you guys put even 1% effort into asking the right questions. Okay, when do you want to buy a house? Okay, what location? For how much? Did you make a plan to how you're going to buy a house? Did you register accounts where you can take the benefit out of the taxes? And also, did you choose a right portfolio, investment portfolio for yourself to make those money grow? So right question will make client think, right? And also will make client to go back to you and ask those questions, and also even will become a client if you will present a great solution for them and follow the plan. Learning how to ask a right question, that's really important, because in the end of the day, it's their goals, right? And you have to remind them that, okay, this is the great accounts, as Parm mentioned, you can take a benefit of those accounts. Now you know how it works, but let's make a plan for you, for your future to buy a home. That's your goals, right? Let's save your money. How much can you save a month? toward your goals? Those key questions, because it's not your goals and it's not your future plan, it's their plan. And showing them a great return, a great investment, there's no doubt that person seeing those returns will understand how it works if you explain which company you invest, how big those companies are. Is it Amazon, Facebook, Tesla? Like you talking about huge companies, like let's say S&P 500 or other companies that are big in Canada and US, and explaining them, look, those companies exist in the country for many years, and also everyone use those companies, so you buy in the shares, right? So simple way when you explain them, they will understand what is investments mean, and telling them your money is never locked. You can take your money at any time if you decide to, but follow my advice and your dream will come true if you will invest for long enough. So the client who follow advice, especially during COVID-19, and they actually were panicking when investment were going a little bit down. They were calling me and asking, oh my God, my investment is down. What should I do? I say, put more money. It's those actually shares on sale. And I explained them, would you like to go shopping when the price is 50% off? They're like, of course. So that's what exactly you were doing. Those clients advice. Yes.
I wanted to ask you. So you opened several accounts like these over the last 2 years, especially during COVID-19. What was the average rate of return that they're receiving in your investments?
So some of the accounts that I had a client who opened before COVID-19, during the COVID-19, they had over 36% return. That was when it was a crash happened. And the last year it was 42%. Some of them have to call me and ask if this is real, what they see in their statement. 42% return, is it real? Now they start putting more money into those accounts because they see the value. And
guys, another thing I want to mention is exactly the chart that I showed you, where it starts with $10,000 and it ends up going to $850,000. This is how, if you stay invested and you're putting in money periodically, that's how the growth happens. But remember, the person that was sitting on the sideline and left that $10,000 in their bank account, they still have $10,000. The only difference is that $10,000 can't buy you anything, right? So, yeah.
And also I want to mention, I had one client, it's a great example as well, based on $10,000. Right before the market shoot up, client took $10,000 out of their account because they've been watching the investments, even they have not well understanding. I keep telling them, look, don't take the money out. The investment's going up and down all the time. Right before the investment went up, the $10,000 they withdraw, and a few weeks later they called me and they're like, oh my God, I saw the investments went up, but I withdraw my money. I just make a couple $100. And I said, see, I told you, but I don't know when it's going to go up. I said, no one knows, but you miss your growth. So don't make those decisions, right? Because no one knows when market going to go up. But if you stay for long enough, market always goes up, as Par mentioned.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Awesome. All right, Yuliana, once again, I want to congratulate all of the people that got recognized. I want to congratulate Kostya and Ferdun on their MD promotions. That's a big, big promotion. And I want to recognize and really congratulate Olga and also Vladislav that, you guys pass your module. You're going to get licensed very quickly. But most importantly as well, everybody who's not licensed are aiming to get their license. I want to recognize Harman. He passed all of his provincials as well. A lot of growth, a lot of expansion in our team happening. Let's this month just started. July just started. And let's make it a big month. Let's turn everything around and really push and expand and grow. A lot of people need our help out there. Remember, the banks are not there to help the average person out. A lot of people are struggling. They need that help. So let's get out there. Let's help a lot of families. Let's help educate people. And I will see you all either in the office or on Zoom. Okay, so that's it for tonight. I hope you guys learned about the FHSA. first home savings account. Awesome. Good night, everyone.